Hi everybody, Sanbanani, welcome to my channel. Do make sure that you are subscribed and also do like the video. So listen, you guys, I have been saying that 2025 is a year of lawsuits, and I even said the way that it's going, find somebody to sue before they sue you, because if you don't sue them, they might just sue you before the end of 2025. And it looks like it's not Vusi Thembekwayo's best year 2025, because he seems to be embroiled in all of these lawsuits. Okay, not so long ago I did a video where I was talking about how he is suing Usizwe in this fraud lawsuit, because Sizwe had accused him of being a fraud because he had offered this a deal to this up and coming businessmen or women, up and coming businessmen, that he was supposed to nurture, like it was supposed to be a cause, I think. Okay, and Sizwe had told the people that, listen, you guys, this guy over here is a fraud. And he was telling everybody that would listen to him Usizwe to say, good guys, don't join this mentorship program, it's a fraud. So now Vusi ended up suing Usizwe, and that whole lawsuit is not concluded yet. Now Vusi Thembekwayo is also being sued by somebody that is his ex-partner, okay, business partner, because ngiyanazi nina senizothi-ke ngoba ngithi partner senithi kade sambona uVusi Thembekwayo ukuthi vele no, angisho leyo nhlobo ke-partner, ngisho upartner, business partner. Okay, so don't be thinking funny stuff here. So it says here, fraud allegations rock Vusi Thembekwayo and his entity. Okay, I thought this article is actually going to be interesting to read, because I thought, for me and some of the people that were in my comment section in my last video, saying just like me, I've always wondered, Vusi Thembekwayo, what does he do besides his public speaking? What does he do? Maybe if we read this article together, we are finally going to be answered in terms of what does Vusi Thembekwayo do besides public speaking. Does he have any other business that he is involved in besides public speaking? Okay, now he's being sued for 13.7 million rands for failing to pay for services that were rendered to him by his ex-partner. So it says, the story is written by Ngogomalaja, actually. So it says, the business partnership between Vusi Thembekwayo and Rovian Justin Naidu has crumbled after the latter accused the internationally acclaimed motivational speaker of defrauding him. Naidu alleged that Thembekwayo failed to pay him millions of rands for saving him and his company. My growth fund venture partners millions of rands by finding good office rental deal that saved him and his entity Wags of Laika. Okay, Naidu also alleged that Thembekwayo failed to pay him for the services he rendered at MGF VP. He also alleged that Thembekwayo and his company failed to transfer 50% of MGF VP shares to him after the businessman, who has a gift of gab, agreed to do so before joining forces with him. News of the collapse of their pact came to light after Naidu took Thembekwayo and MGF VP to Johannesburg High Court to seek an order to force him to pay a total of more than 13 million for the services he rendered. The staggering amount comprises of 5 million for the work that he had done for the company and 8.7 million rand for saving him millions of rands for Thembekwayo and his company after negotiating them a good rental deal. In the court papers we have seen, Naidu said that during June 2021, he, together with Thembekwayo and his company, cited the first and the second responded, cited as the first and second responded, respectively, entered into a verbal agreement to join their respective skills and resources with a purpose of creating investment opportunities and raising funding for projects. Thembekwayo and his company would utilize the entity as the primary vehicle wherein the investment opportunity would be created and conducted in funding, and funding would be raised with the intention of making a profit. Naidu and Thembekwayo agreed to transfer to him 50% of the total shareholding and all securities of MGFVP on condition that he leaves his successful company. Naidu said that he was expected to conceptualize and compile fund structure, commercialize terms sheets, and investment memorandums. He said that he was also expected to develop what would become the growth fund playbook, which was to be used to obtain the private equity ventures capital and also to build a high net worth variables rate debentures fund, which would be known. What the hell is happening? Sorry, you guys. Ivalekile article ngisafunda. Okay. Let me just do this. Okay. Naidu was also expected to create a venture capital arm and obtain a venture capital, create a private equity book, and market the envisaged project to the public. In addition to that, Naidu said that he was also expected to do the due diligence for the proposed project, develop an executive capital playbook, structure, debit lending portfolio, and extend to the deal-making negotiations in respect of what would later become the project SUSFIN. Naidu said that because the business had not generated sufficient income after 3 months to allow for profit sharing, they amended their initial agreement to make provision for him to charge against the loan account for services rendered at normal rate of 5,000 rands an hour. The plaintiff's services so rendered would accumulate as a loan in his favor in the books of the second defendant, which loan would become repayable to the plaintiff prior to the declaration of the distribution dividends and profits. The plaintiff was entitled to the retrospective charge the above agreed rate for his hours worked from June 2021 onwards, reads the papers. Naidu said that he rendered his services as agreed at the rate of 5,000 rands an hour and contributed 1,000 rands in his personal hours towards the investment and other projects of Thembekwayo and the entity. Naidu said that Thembekwayo and MGFVP breached their agreement in December 2022 when they failed to transfer 50% of the shareholding to him. They also failed to create a loan amount in his favor in the books of MGFVP for the time he spent towards their project and the agreed rate. Naidu said that MGFVP stopped all communications with him during December 2022. The papers claim that Thembekwayo blocked Naidu from access to the electronic emails and database of MGFVP and terminated his access to all systems and electronic platforms. He also refused to communicate any further with him. This Naidu constitutes a reputation of their contracts. This, the Naidu said, constitutes the repudiation of their contracts. Okay, listen, you guys. It's the big English here. It's the big English, okay? As the result of the repudiation or breach of their agreement. Why are you using? You should just say that this is the breach of their contracts, okay? Okay, we are not in court yet, okay? As a result of the breach of the agreement, Nadu said that he suffered the damages to the amount of 5 million and calculated on the agreed rate of 5,000 rands an hour, reads the paper. Alternatively, Naidu is demanding 5 million rands from Thembekwayo and his entity after they misled him into believing that he would receive 50% of the shares in his company. At this time of negotiations and at the time of contracting, the defendant knew that the representations were false, and because the first defendant never had the intention to provide the plaintiff with the 50% of the shareholding within the second defendant and did not have the intention to pay the plaintiff for the services rendered. Because fraudulent mispresentation made by the first defendant, the plaintiff has suffered damages in the amount of 5 million rands, being hours spent in the plaintiff towards the project of his first and second defendant at the rates and the court papers. Okay. In the second claim, Naidu said Thembekwayo told him in July 2021 that he required upmarket offices for himself and his entity and at a reduced rental rate. Using his connection, Naidu said that he informed Thembekwayo and MGFVP that he would source upmarket office space at a reduced rate. He said that Thembekwayo told him that he should Thembekwayo told him that he should succeed at sourcing such a property at a low rate, he would pay him an amount of 50,000 of the savings, being of the difference between the reduced rate of the rental charge for his entity and the actual rental. Listen, you guys, listen. I am no businessman, okay? But this deal over here, okay? So this man was promised 50% of the shareholding in the company. Okay, I see that. But then Vusi Thembekwayo says that, okay, another thing is that I'm looking for office space that I can rent, but I want it at a reduced rate. Whatever amount that you can save me, okay? Let me explain this as if we are grade R, okay? Vusi Thembekwayo says, you know what? I don't have money. I don't have money to pay. Let's say that the office space is 10 rand. He says that I don't want to pay 10 rand. I want to pay 5 rand. Okay, so look for office space where they can discount it for me so I can pay 5 rand. So whatever 5 rand that you save me, I will pay you the half of the 5 rand. So you will save me 5 rand and then I will pay you the 250 that you saved me. That doesn't make sense. But you don't have enough money to pay the 10 rand, but you are going to pay the 250 that he saved you to him. Sounds like a scam. Hey, let me read. The normal rate for an office and parking base would be an amount of 3 million a year. That constitutes an amount of 250,000 rands a month, he said. The agreement that was eventually concluded between the second defendant and the landlord entails that no rent will be charged and that only the amount that will be paid will be approximately 80,000 rands in the respect of offices and 37,000 rands of parking bays, which amounts are the rates that the landlord charges for utilities and amenities. As a result, no rental was charged. The 50% of the value saved over the period of 5 years constituted therefore an amount of 8 million, okay, over 8 million it looks like, okay, being the value saved of 17 million, just over 17 million, divided by 2, which the defendant must pay to the plaintiff, which makes sense because he was supposed to get 50% of the saved. So this guy saved him, if I'm reading correctly, because I am not the former president, okay? So this guy saved Vusi Thembekwayo 17 million. And to Vusi Thembekwayo was like, whatever you saved me, I'm going to pay you 50% of the amount that you saved me, which is 17 million. So half of 17 million, I'm going to pay you. But how was he going to save you if he didn't have money for rent? Okay. Naidu and Thembekwayo failed to pay him the agreed amount. As a result of the reputation breach of agreement, the plaintiff suffered the damages in the amount of 8 million, just over 8 million, 8.7 million, okay, being the amount of the plaintiff would have earned in respect of the second agreement had it not been for the defendant's reputation thereof, he stated. Thembekwayo failed to or declined to comment. Okay, he declined to comment on the story. Let me tell you this, you guys. I know it sounded like I'm reading an Afrikaans novel to some of you, but let me tell you this. Vusi Thembekwayo sounds like he might allegedly. It hurts my heart to say, but he might be scamming. It hurts my heart, but he might allegedly be scamming the people. Oh Lord Jesus. Can't we have one successful black guy in South Africa? It hurts my heart, but I think Sizwe was right. Yeah, says I shall Sizwe, but Sizwe was right. Thembekwayo will be scamming the people. Guys, listen, but sometimes, like, I know that there's that trust thing when it comes to like doing business, especially like when you know people. But like even successful businessmen sometimes be making mistakes that even us like that are not in like doing businesses in big scales like that, like why would you do some of these businesses that they some of these deals that they say they did verbally? I would be like, why would you just trust somebody saying to you that they are going to give you 50% of their business, like saying that verbally? That is a big deal for me to say, listen, let's do this, and I'm going to pay you by giving you 50% of my business. Why would I just believe that just in J without anything being written down? Like, I don't understand how they can be trusting like that. But I ain't no big businessman, so maybe that's the problem, honey. But